taking shots their direction. We've got United that's been in first, and Lazarus finally taking over that position yesterday, but it's still so close at the top of the leaderboard. Who's going to end today in that first place position?
Plane is in the air, teams are in the sky, and now it's time to determine who will be, I guess, working on those little. We talked to the interview portion there, Matt. At least with Envy, they want to be a little bit more aggressive. They're working on the communications. I'm looking at Team Genesis. Again, we talked a lot about these guys yesterday. They've had a terrible couple of weeks, and they are feeling, I think, mentally stressed at this stage because they're not used to being in a position where they have to work up the leaderboard as far as they are now.
Well, real talk, they've been in a stressful position for a couple of months now. With everything that's been going on internally with those guys, I could see it being very taxing. And so then going and having such a phenomenal week one, and then having to spin that back and try to figure out what's going on, it just feels like they're just trying to clean up some stuff. But look at that, Luke 12 already taken down Valiate with a vehicle to get this day started.
You know, that's an interesting situation there. Lazarus finding Valiate across from the rest of his squad. Now, this has been a point of frustration, at least for me watching SSG play. High caliber team, but their strategy, their approach, it's borderline just confusing. I don't understand why they continue to play. And in the early game, you're going to lose players now and again, but this is more the broad strategy for SSG, where Valiate specifically is always separated from his team. They're not really playing as a unit. They're playing with three, and Valiate doing whatever he wants to do. And as the IGL, Matt, that can be a critical issue if you lose him early.
Well, there is the running joke that's inside the PUBG scene. So whenever IGL dies first, that's not the worst thing because now they can micromanage everybody else by bouncing between those spectator spots. But yeah, specifically where we saw Valiate die at, that's going to be up around where Mystery was, just down along that road to the south of him. We've seen a lot of drops along those locations, and that's kind of become a contention point for several different teams, as Mystery was in that spot right now, and you can see Lazarus got that kill off of it a second ago. It's a very hazardous place to play.
And for Lazarus, I think that when they loot in Yasnaya, the plane path, I think, was relatively capable of getting them there. And maybe they had the idea, Valiate loots this location, let's drop on them, take their vehicles, and maybe get a kill. And they've done just that. So they'll move on to Yasnaya. They're going to get their loot phase started a little bit late, but they're going to be moving out with the first kill of the game.
Envy in their de facto home, they've got just over to the west of Milton, over also to the west of Farm. They run a very interesting spread across this loot. Circle has popped in their favor, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see them move in just a little bit. Tempo Storm doing Tempo Storm things, going ahead and doing that loot way off to the west of Gatka, fairly separated out. No surprises there, starting to regroup just a touch.
Look at Genesis on the move already. They're actually headed towards Tempo Storm. And Tempo, while there are two here, Maluk and Sharpshot, they might have all four of Genesis knocking at their door. They're headed right for them. So looking at this first circle, we are in the southwestern portion of the map with that channel still in play. Player One Esports technically center, and Genesis might cruise right on by, knowing likely that Tempo is looting here still, and Maluk will take an eyeball, but no action there.
If there's one thing that everybody in this lobby knows, is Tempo is somewhere around this location. So that's why Genesis is giving a little bit of a wide berth. Don't want to lose anybody in rotation early, but it feels like they have a specific spot that they want to play on this circle. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's along those hills. We see them very often play around this location here. Player One Esports already got a little bit of a forward position onto him.
That's close, that's close, man.
That spot, a lot of shots coming through.
That all four are going to crash in here, and they've taken some damage from Lampalot in the open position already. However, Genesis is going to take away the compound and leave Player One Esports on the outside looking in. Lampalot, lots of damage. Nerf will take him down.
Now it's just David. He's got a very interesting angle that he has to hold. Lampalot's already been flushed out. Four members of Genesis came in strong. We can see that Player One Esports trying to provide some level of support still in the vehicles, trying to figure out how they can make it over here, but they're so far behind the play at this point. David looks like he's just trying to get out of this and hopefully just having an Uber pick him up as he runs away.
And, you know, it's going to be the right choice, Matt, because there's no way that Player One Esports, having conceded the compound and with no players to back them up, they're maybe going to do a surround. They might be able to get aggressive, but that might not be the play. David's stuck. He can't move, no vehicles. So Player One Esports is in a kind of a rescue situation, but Genesis has got a very strong spot now.
This is an interesting play coming out from David. Fully seating the entirety of the complex, stepping away, finding a kind of an interesting spot. So maybe if they make the push out, he can get a point out of it before he gets taken down. Or they just might assume, hey, everybody left, we're fine. The vehicles came by a second ago. Those are the reinforcements picking him up. So we should be clear now, because you can see they're focused on clearing all of the buildings. This little dip may provide at least a point or survival for now, and Genesis might just forget about him.
They know there are two. They heard the shots. I think they saw the two players. So now it's a question of where are they, and or where is he in David's case. And Genesis is being very cautious, but he could be a big issue. He can hear them moving around. He knows they're close.
They didn't check the dip. They just glanced out, and they're starting to assume that maybe this is clear, and that could be a big problem. K-Mine's coming out. He's kind of looking around this. Nope, he's just going to step it back on the other side. So David looks like he might have a little bit of space to work with.
They know it's risky. You can't really step out across that wall. They've heard. I imagine they heard the vehicles as well. Moving over to Tiggleton. He's got a line on the United trying to take the hills outside of Pachinki, but Sonic's got a strong spot, strong hold.
A lot of teams are opting to go over on the main island. Keep in mind, with this circle, there's a lot of teams, there's a lot of space still on military base, and we saw that kind of go awry in the last game of last week.
It's only I think Zenith is kind of filtering across in military, but most teams have moved to the north side of the bridge. We saw this in the kill feed. It is Drassel. They did lose McCoy and Shrimsy. So Drassel trying to go 1v4.
Nice shots, getting two, but not going to be able to pick him up after that.
Yep.
Solid play coming out from Drassel trying to salvage that, but Ghost Gaming going down in 16th place from another early game squad wipe coming out of Envy. I'm really enjoying seeing this new style of play from them.
Yeah, and oh my God.
I don't know what just happened here, but it is bad.
Well, that car's out of commission, no doubt about that. Envy's, you said it, Matt, has been so good at these early game skirmishes. Sometimes it'll cost them one or two players, but that's just good mechanics. They knew Drassel was probably the, well, not just Drassel, but they knew one player was left. They had two players go down, but they had the backup there. Don't lose anything other than a couple of helmets, maybe some meds, and they will pick up the points for Ghost Gaming, wiping out of Milta actually as well, so Ghost didn't really get far.
It's an evolution that we've seen from Envy, because if you remember back in Phase 2, they used to try to get in those set positions to try to catch a couple of kills in rotation, and it kind of worked inside that phase, but now it feels like it's getting a lot more solid. The plan is being executed, and David is finding himself a nice little home that he's going to live at for the rest of this game.
Yeah, and that's a strong spot too. I mean, you have a couple of vision points, that's area, but David right now is just in I guess damage control mode, as is the rest of Player One Esports. They are center. Moving will be too dangerous, so Player One Esports likely just going to spread out, take some control, maybe try and pick up some kills in the mid game or early game if it comes their way. But Player One Esports has not been the same team that we saw last phase, and likely, at least listening to them scrim, a little bit of sharp words when things aren't going that well. So you have to wonder if the stress is starting to get to him.
Well, Lazarus is still feeling pretty good, taking a couple of shots, getting a little bit more space, playing their divot. Everybody's finally regrouped in this location. They're off towards the eastern part of the circle, just playing this very slow and patient. Most of the teams already inside the circle at this point. Lazarus just really has one member on the outside, Wildcard and Low-Key, the last comers into the circle. Rumbler's going to go ahead and play pretty far from center, all things considered.
It's a long rotation for them too, Matt, as they come all the way to the edge of the circle. And Rumblers has been kind of an edge-style team. It works for them in some instances. Now, they've climbed up the leaderboard. They're doing quite well for themselves after a bit of a slow start. But they kind of get their time and space just by avoiding that early action that Envy seems to want to seek out, and that's the team right to their south.
Well, we've got a huge spread coming out from Zenith. You can see that we're on Patron right now. He's playing that hillside. The rest of the team's going through there. And look at this. It's just like last week. Not as mean, because we got a couple of teams that are inside the circle, but Zenith split could pay off, or it could be a huge detriment, as look, everybody is jumping in vehicles. Zenith is going to be the front team on this move, but everybody is going to be funneling into these bridges.
Look at the other bridge. You have Envy and Rumblers trying to get across with Lazarus. United and Zenith are all tangled up, and this is the mad dash down to military. Teams were positioned to try and make this move, and now everyone's in vehicles. It's going to be a disaster trying to cross these bridges.
Who's been practicing their seat swaps, because it could be a big factor real quick. A lot of these teams are trying to get to cut off points. You can see Los already outside of his vehicle on that eastern bridge waiting. Zenith was the front runner, so they're going to try to get control over this building complex, taking a couple of shots back over towards E United. And it looks like Patron might be just trying to chase this through, as Taylor J does manage to make it through the first part of the gauntlet, but there are so many teams just stuck back on the other side of this bridge.
United's already lost two. Taylor J cannot stop, doesn't have anyone in his car to help him, so Zenith will take control of a pivotal compound in the center of the zone and have a little bit of vision onto the bridge. Now, Zenith, they haven't set up entirely for the bridge camp, and most teams have actually stopped on the other side. It's a total log jam as everyone tries to figure out how they can get across.
Can we point out that somehow David is alive? Genesis has made their push over, but it's so separated out across this. You can see now D-Treat's in a bad position from Genesis again, holding them down and on just a locked point as even Sonic's members, Tickleton just off to the side. Riot Squad's decided, hey, let's just go ahead and approach this in a Navy style, but it's going to be Tempo Storm taking pot shots at them across the canal.
And Tempo is actually going to be the slowest one so far, as they don't have a boat just yet, but they are likely going to try and pick up some kills. As you know, everyone's coming to the coast, so if they set themselves up in a good spot, maybe they can pick up those mid-game kills. But the question is now, Rumblers and Lazarus have each other held out with the zone about to start closing on them. So now it's going to be Luke and actually taking down Cherry Poppins.
This is like watching LA traffic right now. Everybody is just stacked up. Nobody can move. It's just a traffic jam around both of these bridges. Rumblers kind of had the inside track on it, but Lazarus is just trying to find a more slow, methodical approach. This is what we know they like to do, and they're hunting down different members. Waldo is kind of the one key position that's holding back the other Rumblers right now, and they're trying to figure out where is he at.
Microfry on the high side. He's in the gas station. No vision yet. Waldo in the prone position. Purdy has got to have an idea. He's going to check the tree first. Not going to find Waldo, who's a little bit further off to the right. And now it becomes a waiting game. You're losing a little bit of health, one tick at a time. And what is it going to cost you in rotation efficiency, as they're going to have to come south on this bridge and rotate through military base?
So Waldo is definitely stalling Lazarus. These guys, they wanted to have a huge game. Vehicles are starting to be hopped into now. Purdy Curdy is still on the hunt for him. Luke off to the other side of it. No clear vision coming through. Keep in mind, Microfry is also just on foot at this point, I believe. So both the Rumblers lost vehicles and trying to figure out how they want to make the approach. But Wildcard was also kind of slow in their rotation through, and now forced to kind of camp down inside the shack as Tempo Storm still holding back multiple teams, and Loki's going to be following on a similar path to this.
Wondering if Lazarus is going to give up on this, as we see Zampa taking down Sharky taking down Pistola Time, with Zampa finishing Penta. So Wildcard, being the northernmost team, have not had an easy time coming south. They have Ferry Pier, but they will have to cross unless this circle comes back towards the bridge. We'll find out right now, and it will come a little bit back towards the bridge, as Wildcard can stay in Ferry Pier, Matt, but it is going to leave a lot of water in play.
Tempo Storm still holding down that position. You can see Genesis trying to make their way, figure out, okay, what do we do at
all
this
in the
stage?
boat
They
at once.
have a boat. This is hazardous. No, win. This is... Well, I guess now you just get to swim by yourself, buddy.
All you had to do was press F, man. That's it.
At the exact same time as everybody else. But 3 of the members making the cross over there, I think that could actually be safe. Nobody's along that coast, but look, D-Treats might want a little bit of vengeance. But I wouldn't be surprised if he just doesn't do anything from here.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's on the northern side of the circle. He is going to have to move eventually, but it's going to be Tiggleton actually finding H-Win. And that is just a bad mistake for Genesis.
Oh, hey, Sonic's managed to spot out D-Treats. A couple of shots go back over there, so D-Treats does manage to get himself 1 more point off of this.
Lucky.
And Wynn's going to hear this. Now the chaos is breaking out back down towards the southern part of the circle. As you can see, Space Station Gaming trying to hold out Envy, but a good shot coming out from Moody. Gonna take down J-Sync. Just 2 members of Space Station Gaming remaining.
Nades coming down. Moody and Pat Caps trying to move forward, but Taro is going to get finished off from the vehicle explosion, and that's unlucky, as just a little too close to that vehicle, but looks like SSG has lost a player as well. Moody steps up, looking for the spray, can only hit 1 shot.
But now Space Station Gaming is being funneled back down towards where Zenith is at. These guys had a strong position earlier, so Space Station Gaming's got to figure out what they're going to do from this point. Shots are coming through, a lot of damage on the vehicle, and there goes Space Station Gaming in a fiery wreckage.
Unfortunate rotation here from Space Station Gaming. Bounced off Envy into the waiting hands of Zenith, and that's going to be early exits. 14 minutes into the game for Space Station Gaming. Low-key now has an eye on tempo.
Couple of shots coming out here right on the edge of the blue. Loki's got a couple more members that are trying, or 1 more member that's trying to meet up with them, so did buy a little bit more space. Tempo Storm is very, I guess, in a very congested point right now, is they have about 4 teams around them, but everybody is separated out in different points. Loki is kind of caught out in this bottleneck as well, trying to figure out what are they going to do. All the boats are gone at this point. Everybody's going to have to make the choice, swim or contest around the bridge.
I didn't see where H-Win went down, but look at the spot that Genesis has now. They're dead center. Low-key, they're still on the edge. Now, this is the question for a team like Low-key. They did get stuck on the northern side, and they're going to have to cross with everybody else. Wildcard using the boats, Tempo Storm going to make their play for the bridge. Player One Esports, having been featured early in the game, now have a bit of a hold with only D-Treats on the bottom of the bridge. So if they come down to the beach, it might be a big problem for them.
Did see that there. Lazarus did manage to separate away from the Rumblers, so Lazarus does have a little building complex just off to the side of the bridge. Rumblers are going to be coming in a little bit late. You can see Tempo Storm getting more and more control over the northern part of this circle. But at this point, you have to assume the circle is going to go back down to the southern part of the island. Well, I say that. Every single time we see one of these circles, Lord only knows.
It should now center towards where Genesis is because the water should now be trying to be adjusted out. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of water in play on a lot of sides of this circle. So where it goes, yes, indeed. That was the expected circle. So Genesis is going to be feeling strong. Zenith still maintains a strong position. And then after this circle, Matt, it's going to be about that ridgeline control.
Shrew's in a lot of trouble, though. He's got to contend with David right now. Player One Esports, they have Tempo Storm around him. They do get spotted out, so that's going to be E United going down in 14th place. A lot of these teams that are vying for that #1 position are in a little bit of trouble to get this game started.
Genesis really wants H-win with them now with this circle position. Being 4 up here for Genesis would be massive. Unlikely, or unfortunately, I should say, it was not the case. Now Zenith kind of moving around, but now the push has to happen. And here it comes. Maluk is going to find David. Quick flush, Tempo Storm. Likely just wanting kills in this situation, Matt.
Yeah, they know they're in a world of trouble. So just hunt down any and everything that's around you that is moving. Get those kills. You can see how bad it was around the bridge. There's a flip Dacia right on the corner there. So Tempo Storm, if they get control over this part of the bridge, they can maybe make a play to move in a little bit safer. And it feels like that's what they're going to start trying to do. Kind of send out a couple of scouts, get a little bit more information, be very slow with this because you don't want to overextend. You want to make sure that you get some form of safety from your guys that are protecting your flanks.
No one's really watching the bridge. If you look at the map, Lazarus is there, but they're more looking towards Rumbler. Zenith is there, but
he's taking a couple of shots at Zampa as he goes, but he's all by his lonesome, and Sharpshot now has an eye for him, and that could be some trouble. Dietrich's playing around those crates, got the grenade out, but looks like Sharpshot's wanting to go for the push. Peeks off to one side, looks the wrong angle, and there you go. That's going to be another kill going back over towards Tempo Storm.
Dietrich had no idea that Sharpshot had pushed out into the open like that, and that's just an aggro move from Sharpshot. Picking up, I believe, the 4th kill for Tempo Storm, joining in with Wooly. Sonics have been active in this game, but they're nowhere near each other, as Wooly is going to be trying to nade out, maybe try and find his way out of this.
Well, this is a precursor to what we're looking at towards the end game. This is kind of a fight that's towards the circle, so you can see not a lot of terrain. Well, I mean, there's hills that you can work around, but there's a lot of bad angles. It's going to be Sonics going down in 13th place.
I guess they're nowhere near each other because they're all dead.
There's not a lot of safety to be had inside of the circle. There's the hill that's running right through the center of it, so a lot of people are going to be making plays around that, and low-key are just kind of letting Tempo Storm clean out everything in front of them, but this could be bad for Tempo Storm if they're not watching that position behind them.
Well, they did make it across the bridge on foot, which is admirable. Only Aguila in the yellows down and to their left, no vision from him. So Tempo likely will make it across, at least into the circle. And now Vanquish is looking down towards the remnants of Wildcard with Low-Key in the water behind them. Hard peaks here for Vanquish as it's going to be damage coming up and over, and that's the reason you get headshot immediately. Tetra, last man, he's going to have to go for the res. And he's going to get knocked by K-Mind.
Party, nice shot coming out from K-Mind. That's going to buy a little bit more space for Wildcard, but keep in mind, we still have the swimmers coming through as Loki is slowly approaching on the similar angle. Vanquish does have one member down, but they're trying to hold so many different parts of this beachhead, and it's just starting to come apart as so many people are taking these outside shots their direction.
And I was standing behind Genesis while they were scrimming. The K-Mind always has his head on a swivel for knocks and downs, and any gunfire, and he will immediately train his eyes that way, and that's how you get those pivotal knocks and kill steals.
I love this from Tempo Storm. Find a safe position, figure out what's going on. They've been on the other side of the bridge. They don't have a lot of information to work with what's been happening on this side of it. So slow, steady approach. But it looks like they're starting to separate out a little bit more and going to be making their way back over towards where Player One Esports is just kind of posted up, laying on the ground right now. And I don't know, this is going to be kind of difficult for him. A couple of shots going to come through. One member does go down, trying to get a little bit more out of it, but no, Player One Esports does go down after flushing Maluk, though.
Listening to Maluk, probably one of the most vocal and commanding IGLs in the game. And the way Tempo has set themselves up, essentially it's Maluk, the most vocal guy you can have, and 3 kill bots. So Maluk, even though he's out of the game, he's going to be vocal, directing his squad. Tempo has always had success, even when Maluk goes down.
Luke's in a little bit of trouble here, looking back over towards Zenith. I mean, Luke has had some strong performances in the past, trying to find these angles for it, going for a spray. He can get the damage off, but there are just so many members that are already posted up inside there. You can see the new circle right on the edge of this, so a couple of teams could be eyeing this direction. Really just Rumblers, I think they're pushing around towards the north. It's just a matter of how long can Luke survive at this point. He's the last hope for Lazarus.
And Lazarus had such a hard time rotating. They had that fight with Rumblers, who are still 2 up, but Luke is just trying to find anything. And Zenith, I wouldn't say they're the ones that he could potentially fully squad wipe, but it has happened in these situations before. So Zenith has to be very careful in how they approach Luke. A lot of smoke down. They can't quite see. They need to play just as patient as he does.
Look at this. Pax crouching, crossing the bridge right now. That lets you know that everybody is super afraid of what is going on over here.
Uh-oh.
So a couple of shots coming out from Sharky as they finally do spot them out. And there you go. That's going to be low-key taken down. So they were trying to follow back behind this and get something out of it, but it's still just going to be more kills going over towards Tempo Storm as Luke has a push coming his way, going for the spread of one, and it's just a flood of people. He's not going to be able to get it, and Lazarus goes down in 10th.
Nice play there, double peek. Walt Jr. will get it down, but it's on to his teammate, so the res will come out. Now, as far as Pax sneaking across the bridge is concerned, it's really hard to sneak when you're dressed in bright yellow against concrete like that. But Tempo Storm lead the way. They still have 3 up. They've got the circle, got a little bit of time and space. And now eyes fall to Genesis. They've got the hard cover. They've got Wildcard on the beachhead, and now Endemic. We are going to be checking in with them and seeing what they're up to.
I love watching teams handle these types of circles, seeing how Tempo Storm makes the push over, seeing how Genesis, where they decide to put the priorities at, how they're trying to get these angles. On the other side of this, Riot Squad at 4 kills already, still have 4 members up, and are on the hunt, trying to use that hillside and look for anybody they can get shots at.
Mad Dash from the Rumblers still have not made the zone. They do have some hard cover to work with. Zenith now the gatekeepers for another squad, or at least what's left of them. Tempo has picked up 6 kills. This is a successful round for a team who had to come arguably the farthest and across the bridge on foot, and now they're looking for more.
They've only lost 1 member in all these skirmishes they've been in. They've got 6 kills. They had to make a terrible push across the bridge. There were teams all around them, and they've managed to survive through it. Now we've got Envy taking a couple of shots back over towards Riot Squad. Should be noted that Leda just got into a battle with K-Mine, did take him down and flush him. So now new circle has popped as Rumblers are in a little bit of trouble.
Well, Rumblers are eliminated. That was Zenith taking them all the way out. So we did move away there, but Zenith did finish them off. Wildcard still prone on the beach. They have a little sliver of the zone, but this is a very difficult approach in this area as Genesis is still holding on to their zone. Now, if they get another circle shift, this could be a Genesis win waiting to happen. Roth runs himself over. Got to watch that. You got to watch for that.
So Zenith is trying to push up the hillside that's right next to Riot Squad. Riot Squad's trying to hold the angle. Tempo Storm's making a push along a similar path. So Zenith decided that they want to separate out and they wanted to push to this part of the circle, but about to find themselves potentially pincered between 2 very violent teams.
Riot Squad active, looking towards Envy on the southern side of the zone. The circle has shifted and has moved a little bit towards Genesis as we have the circle closing. Now 2 minutes remain as this is where the pinch comes in, headed into minute 23.
Time to just send it if you've got one of the guys on the edge. Tempo Storm still on the hunt. They see Zenith and they see more points that they want to get. Just pushing along the side of this. Envy's trying to figure out their approach on a similar vector, but pushing back down towards Riot Squad. So it's just these 2 squads posted up next to each other. Tempo Storm's getting more and more damage off, and it's just forcing Zenith to retreat as it's just bombs going off all around them.
Nice shots there from Sharky. Gonna find Roth at the tree, or Kendo rather. He's gonna take him down. Nice placement of the shots. And now it's only Patron. He's far in the back line. No support coming.
Patron's holding off on that angle right now. Tempo Storm is stepping out of the safe dome, still looking around. Roth's up on the hillside trying to find some type of angle, but there's so much smoke, so much utility down. Sharpshot is just walking through it. The shots are going to come out finally from Patron. He gets it down onto one of them. Sharky now knows the rough angle that we're going to be looking at, but Patron is being patient for it. He's looking a little bit high on the hillside. Where's Sharky going to peek from? Goes around the tree. You can see Patron does see it, but it does not matter. Sharky just takes him down.
Really tough peek there. Roth now the last man standing from Zenith. The question is now, does Sharky go for the res or go for the kill onto Roth? Protege, the last man from Riot Squad. They tangled up with Envy a little bit ago, but they did get the upper hand. Now he's looking towards Vanquish, checking back in with Tempo Storm. It's going to be Zampa finding Roth. The res will come out. Tempo Storm stays as 3.
They're going to have a firm control over that part of the circle now. The problem with it, it's not a clean path back down that hillside. Genesis has a good sightline that they can play from, as well as Wildcard. So the moment they have to crest these hills, they're going to have a lot of eyes looking back up towards them.
Wildcard pausing, waiting. They've changed prone positions, but they haven't moved very far as they still have the zone, and it's mostly just kind of biding their time. But Tempo Storm getting closer and closer to the top of that ridge line. That's where the control is going to be huge for Tempo as they continue to try and pick up kills. Genesis praying for another circle. 2 men left.
It looks like Tempo Storm is going to circle back around towards the north, try to make some use out of that terrain piece that you can play. There's a little bit of ridge that Wildcard was kind of playing earlier. Now they're just on a little bit of a sweeping front, looking to see if they can get any more kills out of it. They know how many people are alive, but they don't know how many souls, if there's any full squads that are up. So being very cautious in their approach.
Tempo rotating to the short side of the zone. At least they'll have a little bit of cover to use this ridge line. So this is a good piece of control, and Tempo is so good at end game control, especially if they're playing a man down. Genesis has to leave their compound, and now they'll have to deal with Wildcard.
We're at an interesting point where everybody has to move except for Protege, who's, I think, inside of a bush right now. So we've got a lot of sweeping that's going to be going on as Tempo Storm is just trying to hunt down, find a clean angle, but nobody wants to peek up these sides yet. It's very, very nerve-wracking to push into this location just because you assume at any given point somebody can take those shots back towards your direction. You can see if Tempo Storm steps up, they can look back down on 3 different people right now.
10 kills for Tempo Storm. This is the game they wanted, and they have the chance to win. If they don't trip over Protege, that is, who's in a very pivotal spot. If they don't see him and he takes 1 or 2 down, Tempo Storm might be in trouble. So they got to keep their head on a swivel. Wildcard on the move. They're rotating through the zone as well. Everyone's on the move, Matt.
So Genesis now playing that. Everybody's just trying to play for safety. No clean sight lines as of yet. Tempo Storm's getting a little bit more comfortable with it, looking around and what's happening with it. They're getting control over that part of the circle, but like you said, Protege could be huge. He could be the detriment that could tear them apart as now they're taking those shots back down towards Vanquish.
Sharp shot on the defense, looking for any crawlers, any peekers, and any Vanquish players. Nice shot lands, 21 damage across the bow, but no down coming. Sharp shot. Again, this is where the high ground is so dangerous, but also so pivotal for Tempo. They have to watch all the way around them.
You can see everybody's looking different directions, trying to feed information, figure out what's going on.
Protege's moving.
One building that's still in play for Genesis, so it looks like they're moving towards it. I don't know if Sharky has spotted out anybody from Riot Squad, or the last member from Riot Squad yet, but they are looking that direction. Nice down, 1 member up for Vanquish. It's just a peek trying to get along that tree line, but if they start pushing that direction, that's going to put them right in Protege's sight lines.
Sharky, if he moves any further to the left, he's going to be spotted by Protege.
I think he can already see him.
I think so, too.
Looking at him, and here comes the push. This could be hazardous.
He's not seeing him.
He's tunneled in on the tree. They do get that, so now stepping away. Let's listen into what's going on with Tempo Storm.
The west guy's out.
Okay, I'm telling him then.
I'm throwing smoke.
It's a long time till he has to move. He's hit twice. The guy wrapping edge.
Yeah, the guy wrapping north.
Sharp shot at him. I see him. He's exactly on green.
I think that finished. You think he died?
Maybe
He died. He died.
West guy might have died. Did West guy die?
Yeah, the tree guy died.
West guy's dead.
Okay,
So there's still solos somewhere because Jen lost one.
Hey,
so there's 2 unknown.
There's a guy on
I'm
green.
falling down. I'm
Copy.
falling down the dip. It's better.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap down a
You see
little
the
bit.
amber
Then too.
tree? That's where he is.
Over or on
Near
it?
it.
We can
No,
go
pass
off.
You could
it.
wrap it maybe. You
Yeah,
could.
we could wrap it.
Double chow.
Come
Try
with
it.
I don't
the
know.
Okay, yeah, I was going
I don't know if it's worth.
Peek over there. It's worth if we win.
It's
What do you
worth. We kill him and yeah.
Okay, just wait. Sharp, you're like 5 seconds out of
I
it. Wait,
can't
wait.
see him at all.
mean? It's fine. They won't overcommit.
Zampa, you need to hear and listen for your
Listen,
southwest.
listen,
I feel like
listen.
there's a guy prone to you.
Listen, you're ahead of me a little bit, Sharp.
I know. I'm about to peek in a
There's a
second.
fat dip over this ridge. I'm jump checking. I think we wrap edge real quick and peek this dude.
I think there's a guy on
Jump
rock
checking.
on green.
Wait,
Hey, he's on the tree. You have left tree.
Nice.
Hey,
Back up a little bit. Another one's gonna be prone in these bushes somewhere. Just careful.
2v.
Yep,
I'm
north.
nading, I'm nading.
He's
He's dead. He's dead. 3v3. 3v3 with Northwest.
I naded far. You're
You
gonna
guys
hear
have
it.
a decent
I
setup.
see one.
They don't have much. Zampa lit one on a rock on his ping.
Do we wrap CB and Sharp? Push
He's
back
on green.
Erangel?
Rock
I think I hold this.
You can
I
wrap
think I
right,
hold
maybe
this.
see him.
I think
Do
we
I go on
split.
this?
I can
Dude,
hold
I'm
this.
gonna go through the
Fuck it.
valley. I'm gonna go through the valley and try to nade
You
him.
can go on that. I'm fine with that, Zampa. One could already be close under you. Be ready for it.
I see him.
You see him?
to my left.
Prone on the edge. Prone on the edge. Push.
Nice. Okay,
Nice.
it's
Two up,
2v2.
two up. They
I'm
should
pushing
both
up
be
for
on.
nades. I'm pushing up for nades.
There's one on the
Oh,
rock.
Wait, you're in the open. You're in a wide open shark.
There's one
Yeah.
behind me. I'm healing comms.
I'm pushing up.
He's
to
west
this
of me.
rock.
West of me.
One's west of the.
All right, and
go
then the
help
last
him.
one's on blue. West and blue.
Okay, I need to
I lit him.
Careful,
Go
play
help
slow,
him,
play slow.
Sharky. Go help him, Sharky.
I'm wrapping up. Play slow,
He's
play
stuck
slow.
on the tree.
You
They're
have
both
a
wrapping
grenade?
it. They're both wrapping it.
Okay, I'm
Wrap
flanking.
north strap. You're good. You're good. This is a good flank.
I'm gonna push in.
Got one still by smoke far. One's on green.
Slow down, Sharp. You're about to kill both of them.
Nice. He's
Nice.
further
One
north.
up. He's
On the rock.
Right side of the rock.
bit.
He's one
just
feet,
wait, we just wait.
I'm gonna wrap, I'm
We just wait.
Hey, don't overcommit. He's in blue. He's literally in blue. Make sure you
Play
have
slow.
cover.
Play slow. Play slow. Play slow. Take your time. Take your
Right
time.
side of the rock. One bullet behind the
Again?
I
rock.
see him there.
He's really lit, really fucking lit. One bullet.
I got
Good
it.
job.
Let's go, boys.
There it is.
Yeah,
Tempo
baby.
Storm secures the victory. The frantic comms not to cloud